Hey, how you all doing? So I never prepare my talks. I've actually given 2 TEDx talks and I just walked on stage and made them up on the spot. And I'm going to do that right now. But what I want to do is I want to give a couple of examples of how I've tried to help people, and in a way it's helped me. It's helped my brand, it's helped my website, it's helped me to grow as a person and as an entrepreneur. So one, and I'll try to give it practical because these are kind of questions people ask me a lot. So one is, how did I give a TEDx talk? I get this question from people a lot. How can you give a talk at a TEDx event? Well, one way you can do it is pitch them and tell them how amazing you are, how you're the best at what you do, they'd be a fool to turn you down. That's not what I try to do. I try to research each TEDx location and see what were they looking for that I could provide. And in the first one I saw that San Antonio, it turns out, has the largest Hispanic community of America that does not speak Spanish. So I saw this as an opportunity to try to help that community. And I called them up and I said, I want to help San Antonio to learn how to speak Spanish. And that won them over. And that's how I got onto that TEDx stage. So that's something to keep in mind. Now, in terms of going viral, my website now that I started about 4 years ago, it's just about to pass the 1 million unique visitors per month mark. Yeah. It's the world's largest language learning blog and among the biggest travel blogs. And people always ask, how do you do that? Now, my entire strategy with the blog has been to help people. That has always been the focus. One very interesting complaint I get from people with a marketing mindset when they go on the site is, Benny, I can't find your product. Where is it? And you have to kind of dig around, because I focus not on conversion, not on how much money I'm making, but how much of a difference I'm making. I want to see how many emails am I getting a day that I'm helping people. And since that has been the focus, that's how the blog grew, and that's how my revenue grew as a result of that. I never focus on the revenue, I focus on how can I inspire people to learn languages. I take their feedback into account, I write about things that work for them, and test things out, of course. And as one example, people always kind of want a little bit of inspiration for travel. And once my 7-year travel anniversary, I think it was, I shared a post on the life lessons I learned. And I wrote this specifically to try to help people. But if you're worried about how it will go popular in terms of virality, one thing a lot of people miss when they're blogging is to put a bit of personality into it. You have to share your failures. You have to show that you're human, because it's kind of contradictory, but a lot of us think we're businesses, we have to come across as the guru, expert, ninja on top of a mountain who knows everything. And I correct people when they tell me this. And this is what I wrote in the post, that I'm human. I share on my blog all the time my mistakes. People's favorite posts are not the posts where I say, look at me speaking all these languages. It's the post where I'm actually hesitating. This was one post, one video, where I'm speaking in Mandarin, and it takes me 12 minutes to give a tour of a 15-meter squared studio apartment. And it's because it took me so long. There's one scene, it took me 30 seconds to say the word eat. I was like, sure. And then it took me another 20 seconds to get to fan. So I was very slow, but that inspired me. So you can go viral not by being the guru, but by being a human being. And one other story that is more relevant to this group is something else I've done, is I've guest posted on Tim's blog. Very recently, just a few months back, I wrote a post about learning languages, top steps to take. And people asked me, how did you get that guest post? Well, instead of, I wrote an email to Tim like 4 or 5 years ago when I was starting off my blog, and his assistant Amy was so busy to tell me that he was busy, it took her 2 months to reply to tell me it would take Tim a million years to reply. So that wasn't going to work. So it doesn't work for you to say, I'm amazing, I can do all these great things, look at me, I'm fantastic. Instead, I waited, and he came out with the 4-Hour Chef, which is a book about learning. So instead of thinking, oh, what can I get out of this? I thought, how can I help him? So I got through to a friend of his, and I said, I have a big blog about learning languages. I think it's a big fit. Can I help promote his book? Can I do some kind of a conjunction where we give away a few books to get people really buying them? And that kind of got through to them, because I was thinking if the tables are turned, that's something that would work on me. And I get a lot of emails. I get over 1,000 emails a day. It's a lot. But the ones that get an answer are not the ones telling me how great they are, but how much they might be able to help me with something I need help with. So that's how I got on Tim's radar. And he figured I'm pretty good at languages. So a few months later, he emailed me and he said, Benny, I'm doing a TV show where I want to learn Tagalog in 3 days. I need your help, because I know you've learned a little bit of this language. And I spent 2 hours writing him back the most detailed email you could possibly ever imagine getting written about learning Tagalog in 3 days. And he used it. He implemented all my advice. And when, after the video, he said, Benny, if you ever need a favor, let me know. Good place to be. So then I said, yeah, can I guest post on your blog? And that's how I got to there. So what I'm trying to say is, I don't feel I've gotten to this point based on luck. We have a saying in Ireland, every man makes his own luck. I do not believe in good luck or bad luck. I think you can control where you go if you're willing to play by a certain amount of rules, and the social rules, which are applicable in making friends and online with blogs, is treat people like human beings, see how you can help them. And that is maybe how you can go viral. And that's something that I've been so pleased about. And yeah, I know that's less than 15 minutes, but I think I want to give more time for questions, if that's all right? Okay, so just let me know when the time's running out. But everyone, based on that random, off-the-cuff thing I just made up right there, any questions? Yes?
How do you manage to have 1,000 emails a day?
Okay, that's a good question. 1,000 emails a day. So, what I do is there is several different things. Firstly, best plugin, Boomerang for Gmail. What I do is I give my emails a time dimension. So I get a lot of long emails. I boomerang them to Tuesday. Tuesday's the day where I put an hour to a side to read just long emails. Emails that require some kind of an action to them. Wednesday, emails with links in them, because I don't want to get distracted going off to this link and finding another link. Go to like Thursday or Friday. So I have this system where I essentially press snooze, because even though I get 1,000 emails a day, I get inbox 0 twice a day. So I don't want to see a mess of things to do. Another thing is there's a script that you can get for free if it's up to 10 emails a day, or you buy it for $30 or $40. And I forget what it is, but if you Google something like Gmail forwarding label, something like that, for me it's well worth it, because I set up a bunch of scripts where I will quickly label something and it'll get forwarded to somebody immediately. So I don't have to click forward, type their email address, type a little to-do note. So I've a guy, for instance, I've hired full-time, he lives in Thailand, and he helps me a lot with logistics. So basic things like people who sign up to my site, maybe they didn't get email their password because it went to their spam folder. So I've got a special label, I call him the Duke. So the Duke _account. These are 500 polyglots, people who speak like 6+ languages, which is great, and they're very experienced. It was a lot of work, but I eventually got it down to one person, and then I do the same thing. If it's a language question, not something directed at me, but something that just needs a bit of language encouragement, I send it to, and his title is The Language Encourager. So just label language encourager, gone. So it's a process I go through, and this is how I get inbox zero twice a day, despite 1,000 emails.
How long does it take you?
Maybe like an hour, because if you've got to process very quickly, then you can get to the emails. But like the problem for me is if I was to actually click forward, type their email, this would only take like 10 or 15 seconds, but it's 10 or 15 seconds added up, so just click, relay. So yeah, so I have to go up somewhere.
You say it's from you, even though it's not from you?
No. I'm always transparent with everybody. I announced officially on the blog, everyone welcome Brandon, the language encourager. There's a big picture of him, and like he's officially part of the team. He has his own email address at my blog url.com. So I want to be straight with people, especially because he's American, I'm Irish, so people will kind of figure it out when they see the views disappearing from favorite and color and so on. So you don't want to mislead people. I always try to be as transparent as possible. Be straight with people. And he tells them betting a fortune doesn't really have the time. He gets 1,000 emails a day, so I help out and I can help you with this. And that's better for them. It's better to send someone who can help. Because if I was to reply and be in such a hurry, I'd send like a one-line reply. Whereas Brandon can actually take the time to help them out. Yes.
When did you start to optimize your processes, and when did you hire your first person?
I started hiring people pretty early on, but mostly on Odesk for specific tasks. It's only in the last year or so I've started taking on full-time people. Obviously that depends on as your revenue expands. In terms of automating things, I have automated everything, because every email sent to me does go through me, and I do read every single word people send me. I feel these, like, I don't consider that I've necessarily outsourced it. I tell everyone that they're part of the team and that we're all helping each other out, you know. But I started the email process when I needed to. When I was getting too many emails, I figured this is taking up hours a day just to process my emails. I need to figure this out. And maybe a year or two ago, I started looking into that. Yes.
Do you use the same language learning process that Tim talks about in 4-Hour Chef, or is there some secret sauce that you do as well?
There's no secret sauce in language learning. Me and Tim do have slightly different learning approaches, and if you're more interested in that, what I've just mentioned when I had to promote the 4-Hour Chef, the way I did that was with an hour-long interview where both Tim and I taught language learning, where I asked him good questions, because if he was on the media, people would be like, how do you learn languages? And he'd have to kind of hold the interview himself. So if you check that out, you see everything we agree on. He has more of a preference for kind of building the ground up in language learning. I think he's got a very ambitious mindset in that way. I have a very different process at the beginning, in that I encourage people to make mistakes. So the core of my process is to tell people to speak from day one, butcher the language. You know, like when I was learning German, I got here 3 years ago, I think it was, and I didn't speak any German at all. And my plan was not to have a particular magic study strategy such that I speak German after that. The plan was to walk out my door and just say, "Hallo, ich will Deutsch sprechen bitte," and see what happened. And then with time I learned to pronounce things better, and then put the words in the right order and stuff. But you have to make mistakes, and I tell people to make hundreds. My goal was to make 200 mistakes a day. I walk out of the house and I'm like, how many am I at? Only 60 mistakes. I gotta talk some more. You know. And when that's your goal, it's very very easy to actually progress in language learning. When you are being a perfectionist, it's very hard, because you cannot dare open your mouth, or you will make a mistake, and you always will. And I always tell people I'm a proud imperfectionist. But I know Tim kind of goes a slightly different direction, but you'll see we do agree on quite a lot in language learning, and if you have time, check out that, it's just on YouTube. Okay? Yes?
As you mentioned before, actually right now I'm learning Spanish, and I have difficulty in the R.
Yeah. Okay, I can give you like a really quick crash course. If you say la, and then da, L and then D, la, da, and say that very, very quickly, then your tongue is actually between those two letters for the ra. Now this is different to the like sound, but it's the middle like caro for expensive is just like do not try to take English or a caro. Try to take like a cado and then calo and go in between.
I mean, the rolling part.
The best, I can't give you as quick an explanation to that. You will find very good ones on YouTube that explain mouth positions, how you can relax your tongue, because if you try to like physically get your tongue to do that, it doesn't work. You know, you can't go a million times. You gotta let your tongue go loose, just go. Okay? But like seriously, YouTube has great videos about how to do particular sounds. Am I doing it for time?
Yes.
3 or 4 minutes? Okay. Yes.
So you talk a lot about doing this methodology crashing into things. But in general, what kind of things do you prepare for?
Sorry, say that again?
What do you prepare for?
What do I prepare for? In language learning?
No, in general, what kind of things, because when you talk about language learning and talk about your blog project, you do a lot of things like kind of trial and error. Is there anything that you actually take the time to prepare and strategize and do research before you actually start?
Not really, and that's kind of been one part of my personality, I think, is I've got more of a shit mentality, you know? And it's one way I've earned the revenue from my blog, is I could have come up with a perfect product and waited until it was perfect, but I shipped it when it was okay, and I made a few sales, and from that I can invest back into it and hire a good designer to make the ebook look nice, hire a proofreader to kind of fix the mistakes. So I kind of generally am not a good planner. I just kind of, which is why I have to rush out after this, because I literally have to like pack and send stuff home because I'm getting a flight in 12 hours to LA. So I leave everything to the last minute, you know. And I like that. Last minute pressure keeps you on your toes. Yes.
You can start again as a blogger. What would you do differently?
Make more mistakes. Make way more mistakes, and get a lot of feedback from people. Because what helped me a lot was at the start, I did get people saying, your paragraphs are too big, you ramble a lot, or you don't have any picture, and kind of take it all into, because I'm very open to constructive criticism, and I think it's hard if you kind of think your first edition is perfect. You kind of have to accept that. So I kind of expanded, but not, you know, I wasn't as ambitious as I could have been. I didn't really consider monetizing the blog until I was in Thailand. I met some bloggers there, and they convinced me that it works for them, it might work for me, in a way, in a non-spammy way that I'd appreciate. So I think a little bit more aggressiveness would have worked better at the start. Maybe I'll have one more question.
Did you have a strategy for building traffic?
For building traffic, I'll tell you what's worked best for me is a story. So the viral posts, I do have some viral posts that follow the particular pattern. If anyone's interested, I've written great detail on big traffic. I wrote a guest post about how I got my viral post there. But what has kept my blog consistently going well has been stories. It's not just me saying, here's how you learn it, here's how you learn it, here's how you learn it. It's every 3 months I start a new project. And even this year when I'm busy, I have my girlfriend start a new project and document her story. And that's what people want. This is something that, if you look at a lot of blogs, this is how they got big, is they had some kind of thing to achieve. And you followed along and you're kind of rooting for them. And this is a lot better, and you share their favorites and you kind of relate to them as a person. This is a lot better than just writing viral articles. And I know I can write a list post and it will do very well, but I hold off on that until once every like 4 or 5 months or something. And maybe last question? Okay, one last question.
Is your book your only product? Or do you have other things that bring in revenue on the site?
I now have a traditionally published book that is not really a product, because if anyone knows anything about traditional publishing, it's a major pain in the ass. But I have a video course which I'm actually launching this week, because the previous product was an ebook, which my new book has kind of superseded and kind of hurt the sales of the old product. So you got to keep with the times. But yeah, I mainly have the digital product, and then I get revenue as well from coaching and speaking gigs, and yeah, that's about it. I actually spend 99.9% of my time making free content for the blog, because the traffic will spill over. If you're getting 1 million visitors a month, people are going to pay you for things. You know, doesn't matter how aggressively you're spamming them with like, you know, buy my shit. If you're being helpful, they will want to support you. Okay? Cool. Would you have something to say?